Howdy folks, Gary here with Traditional Archery Products. I want to show you a new tool that we've come up with called a chatter stop. For those of you that have purchased the DVD on how to build a footed arrow or purchased the jig PDF drawings, you're going to find this of interest. I've got my personal rounding table sitting up here real close to the camera, and we're going to show you some real close-up detail on how this thing's going to work and where it's going to help you. Chatter stop is made to fit in the last block, the number 4 slot furthest away from your drill motor on the rounding table. But basically what it's doing is it's stopping the chatter that you get sometimes on these arrows, and if you let that stuff get out of control, you can end up with some seriously mangled arrows. I just wanted to show you this one. That's what you don't want to happen, and that's what the chatter stop will prevent. Like I say, the chatter stop is basically a baby scorpion tail. Scorpions holds the collets in there just like the chatter stop will. I'll show you what I mean. I'll move this out of the way, and we'll show you a close-up of how the chatter stop's going to work. Chatter stop, like I say, it's just a baby scorpion tail. Takes different size collets, just like the scorpion tail did. You guys that have the scorpion don't need to purchase all these collets unless you want to, but you can use the same collets in this tail. It's got a set of bearings on it. It's going to run in bearings. This one's a little bit snug because it's tapped on pretty snug, and that's good. Keep it snugged up right up to the front. And the reason why we have 2 bearings instead of 1 is to give this thing a little bit larger surface area to help align your shafting. For those of you that have built a table and watched the DVD, you can see that we've got a bearing installed here as opposed to the conduit bushings. It's a 5/8 diameter bearing, very inexpensive, and the square foot on the end of the arrow slides right in there. You don't want any slop in there, because if you get slop in there, you're going to end up with chatter. So you want to be able to just push those feet right in there and snug it up. And the chatter stop itself is sitting right here. Well, we're going to turn this table around so you can see how it looks up in the front. But basically, you want about a 7/8 minimum block in width. That gives you a little bit of a spread for your 2 bearings to set in there. In fact, as you can see, this bearing is flush with this side, and it's also flush with this side. You'll see when I turn the table around. That's got both bearings, and basically they're just about jammed up next to each other, and it keeps them lined up real well. When we had all the slack in these 16th inch slack in these blocks, you could really only cut one direction safely. The blocks back towards the drill motor can be over 3/8 of an inch. It doesn't really matter, just something for things to ride on. This is the key. You're snug here, and you're riding in a bearing here, nice and tight, and you get a real good finish. This arrow, and I'll run the drill just a little bit, is cut almost perfectly all the way around. Boy, you can't ask for a better cut than that. You're only going to get perfect cuts like this when you are perfectly cut square feet, perfectly cut at 90 degrees with your saw kerfs, because anything that you're off when you make your feet, you're going to show right here when you start rounding it up, and you're going to end up with a bunch of handwork. Now, these bearings will go into these blocks, and I started one right here so you can see it with an 1 9/16 hole saw. Drill your blocks, figure out what you might have to shim your drill motors up a little bit in order to have clearance underneath for your bearings. But your hole saw, 1 9/16, will, set this where it won't roll off the table, will allow for that bearing to just slide in there. And it fits pretty snug. If you've got a different manufactured hole saw, it might be a little bit sloppy. And if it is, get everything lined up, test fit it, test run it, and then put a little daub of glue or something around it just to hold everything in place when you're sure that everything's running true. I want to turn this table around and show you the business end of the chatter stop here. All right, here's the business end of the chatter stop when it's set in the blocks. Unscrew it, you'll be able to see that collet sitting right there on the inside. We'll stick this arrow back in there. I took the exhaust out of the way so we can get a better shot at it, but I'll stick this arrow in here. We'll put the old whammer on the drill motor here and snug it up. I'm going to put the bearing on the head block on it and clamp it down. All right, we got it snugged up. Give you old tesseroonie. And there you have it. This baby's going to hold it solid in the chatter stop. It's going to run in the bearings on the head block, and you'll be able to cut both directions at the same time. It's really a helpful tool. Get your chatter stop at traditionalarcheryproducts.com.